Welcome back to Trekyards, everyone. How you doing? He is Commander
He's kind of
Goggins.
Foley.
Today we're going to talk about ships, or a ship in particular, which shouldn't exist yet. Maybe we'll get into it.
Stuart, I think the script writer looked at the wrong Wikipedia Memory Alpha account, I feel like.
Maybe, yeah.
And it's the smallest part of this episode. But boy, for a ship channel, we were going to jump on this and to discuss and theorise. Because you know what? It might skew all canon going forward if Strange Worlds was truly visual canon. But all that standard jam. So here, Stuart, is the scene with Laan, Noonien Singh, and James T. Kirk. Now, you can't read it on the panel because it's so small, but what do we assume they're seeing? And then what do they say we're seeing?
Wow, of course it has to be D7 because of the era. But Sheik flat out calls it, well, one thing you got to worry about is the aft torpedoes with a Katinga. It's like, okay, Katinga class. I gritted my teeth a little bit, so I was like, oh, yeah, it's one of those things that I really noticed in the episode, but...
Yeah, she also super highlighted the extra I. She was like, Katinga! She's like, no one ever says it like that.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she pronounced it like, because she's never heard the name before, so she sees it in the script and she's saying it like, because it's weird, right? Like the Deredax, it's weird, but there's a way of saying it. You don't know what's triply, megally, super weird about this. Of course, here's the subtitles to confirm. Yes, they say Katinga, right? I had to go back and listen because they could have said some like Katring Vla, like it's an in between ship, maybe, right? There could have been something, but if you look at the next shot, of course, the top view is the exterior shot we see on the view screen. On the bottom is the D7 as seen in Star Trek Online from Season 1 Discovery. And on the right is the D7 magazine, calling it the D7 ship. Is it different? Are any of these three different?
Nope. Look at the details. They're very much the same ship. Yeah, it was a big thing to actually have a D7 show up in Discovery because they had mentioned a D7 in Season 1, which was a completely different looking ship, which I think they learned their mistake right away. And, well, after people complained. Yeah, we got an actual modified, newer looking D7, which I always had a problem with because it always looked a little too detailed. A lot of people didn't think that was an issue, but it's too plated up. Whereas the D7 in TOS is very smooth and very like simplistic, right? So it just seemed like a more high-res version, as a lot of people pointed out. It's like, okay, fine, let's go with that.
Yeah, because in Season 2, that was one of the show's big semblances of, look, we're fixing the Klingons. They now have hair. Their makeup is radically less full face. They can actually act better. And literally their first scene is them launching a D7 via hologram and it appears at the end. And it is a great Ryan Dennings version. It is what we see here. And they call it a D7. No ifs, no buts. So we know the ship is a D7. No ifs, no buts. So them calling it Katinga is just wrong. Is just flat out wrong. It's been 2 years. And the D7s appear in TOS, which is still years away. Because, of course, the next shot, here's a comparison, of course, between the Katinga and D7 on top. Like, not only is it obviously just a more detailed version, there is many small, subtle differences, because they did approach it like a slightly different design. It's the same visual aesthetic, but they did tweak a lot of things. That's why people call it two different designs, because it isn't just, a refit, it is a fresh, modernized version, half a decade later, of an older version. It's a newer build. I mean, it's smaller, right? There's things about that are different. So it's not a refit, it's a different ship.
Yeah, we did a whole comparison with an expert, so to speak, Rob Bonchun, where we compared the two. And yeah, the Katinga is actually a little bit smaller than the D7. We come up with some reasons why that might be. And it's a really, really good episode, so I would suggest checking it out at some point. Yeah, I mean, we didn't get a Katinga class until motion picture. Before that, it was always the D7. Could classifications change over time? Absolutely. But this is showing that it was a Katinga before TOS. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, it's an unnecessary thing that just ruins the flow. What's the point in doing this? Like, that was clear the vibe in TMP. This is a new, fancy ship. That's what they intended. That's what we took. If you suddenly make it this old, then the D7 was 2 years old. Katinga replaced it, and then Kirk only fights old ships for the next 15 years. Katinga is now a very old ship, and who cares, right? Is it wastes that canon. So, no, they meant to say D7 and they made a mistake because scriptwriters didn't know and said the wrong thing.
And if Lon had issues saying Katinga, they should just put D7, would have been a lot easier to say.
And it would have been fine if it was a different class of ship with a different name. An alternate variant. It's just they made a flat out mistake, and it's odd to see when literally that D7 is from the show this show is based on, that Kiva Gosling was from. Like, this is their continuity, and they mess up their own continuity. Not that we care about Discovery continuity too much, obviously, but it's not. It's weird.
Well, no one will notice such a small detail. One word in a whole musical episode. Everybody's going to be focused on the musical aspect of it, don't you know? It's kind of how it comes across.
And it is funny because they made the FF saying, you know, after Torpedo is a joke to Vidra, of course, because that's one of his famous scenes. It's funny. But you said it wrong. Like, you're wrong. It's just like, in Enterprise, there is a Katinga as a D4, and that is also just wrong, because that was a wrong model used. It is just wrong. There's no way around that, right?
And they would admit to that. I mean, there was a D4 made specifically for it that wasn't used. That was supposed to be different. But it's one of those producers that don't understand and say, well, no one will notice. Just put that ship in. And then no one will notice has been done quite a bit in Star Trek, unfortunately. So
yeah, I just can't buy Katingas that are also as old as D7s. It's just, it just ruins so much of the games and the logic and the lore and just ostensibly 45 years of canon of like what people have known. Just ignore it, right? It's not real. It's not true. One of the few things I just say, ignore whole cloth, right? Did you catch it though? Because
I did. I absolutely did the first time.
I meant the audience, because you, of course.
They can let us know by commenting down below whether they noticed or not. I certainly did, and it bothered me a little bit, but I was like, whatever. It's a mistake. We're going to be talking about that for sure. That's just one of the mental checks that went off in my head when I was watching the episode. We don't want to harp on it too much. I mean, a lot of people might think it's nitpicky, but
there's only
not.
Like 3 classes of Klingon ships from like the 60s to the 90s. D7, Katinga, Bird of Prey. There's no other Klingon designs. Like you know what I mean? Hard to get confused. Then there's a Vorcha. Then there's a Kavort. No, then there's a Negvar. Like, how do they get it wrong? There's only 3 in this era at all.
Well, I don't know.
Easy done, I guess.
As good as Strange New Worlds does with a lot of things, I was kind of surprised actually that they did do that. So anyway, like I said, guys, comment down below what you thought about that, if you noticed it, and what you think about it in general. We want to hear your ideas, your thoughts, your comments. Yeah, and make sure you're subscribed. Obviously, click the bell notification. So I can't even speak today. I'm so flustered by the Katinga thing. Click the bell notification icon to all, so don't miss any uploads or content from us, including lives, where you can come and hang out with us.
And if and when you are on this channel, support us directly via join the channel. It's the Patreon of this YouTube system. Or just go to Patreon. It's the Patreon of Patreon system. Or Super Chat. It's the PayPal of the YouTube system. Or Super Thanks. It's the YouTube of the PayPal system.
He's saying words.
There's so many ways, guys. The link's down below. If you like this video, just super thanks on it. That'd be great. Or join us for a live and super chat. They really help us do what we do here and have fun with this sort of video and just point out stuff you might have caught.
That's right. So until next time, he is the Coughing Commander, Commander Cockings, Commander Coughing.
Yeah, and he's the delightfully, deliciously 77.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, Foley. There you go. That's fair.
See you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.